Alright, today we're going to multiply mixed numbers. A couple things we need to know to do that. First, what is a mixed number? Now, a mixed number is just a whole number and a fraction combined. It's called a mixed number because it's a mix of a fraction and a whole number. The other thing we need to know is an improper fraction. That's where the top number is a lot bigger than the bottom. Okay, so if your top's bigger than the bottom, the denominator, then you know you have an improper fraction. So that's a mixed number and an improper fraction. Okay, for this next part, I'm going to go over the steps. Step number 1, you need to change your numbers so that they're improper fractions. To show you how to do this, I'm actually going to show you the way I do it, which is a half circle, and then I multiply the bottom and I add the top. Let me explain why. The first thing you need to know is this number on bottom is how many sets you need for a whole. So in this case, I need 3 for a whole set. To help visualize this, I'm going to use these tires. I'm going to say you're building a tricycle. How many tires do you need for a tricycle? You need 3. So that would be enough for one whole tricycle. Now, what this number is telling me is I need 3 for a whole set, and I have 2 sets. Okay, there's one set. Here's my second set, so another set of 3. So that's enough for 2 sets, and I have 2 extra tires. Okay, so once again, this fraction showing me that I need 3 to have a whole set, and I have 2 whole sets. So there's 1 set, there's 2 sets, and I have, not including that one, 2 left over. So that's 2 and 2 out of groups of 3. So the reason this works is you multiply how many you need for a set times how many you have. 3 times 2 gives me 6 tires, plus the 2 extras I have, 1, 2, and that's over groups of 3. Okay? When I do that, 3 times 2 plus 2 gives me 8. And that's over groups of 3. Now, it's the same number because if I count those up, I have 3, 6, 8 out of groups of 3. In this case, it just doesn't tell me how many groups I have. It just tells me how many tires total over the groups. Okay? Next, I'm going to do this one. 4 times 3 plus 3. That means 4 for a whole group. I have 3 groups. That means I have 12. Plus 3 extras would be 15 over the same number of groups. So I actually have the same exact problem here. I just combine these mixed numbers up here at the top to see how many I have total. This makes it a lot easier to multiply. The second part, this is an if you want to. If you want to, you can cross cancel. If you cross cancel, you don't have to simplify later. If you don't want to cross cancel, you just have to simplify when you're all finished. Okay? I'm going to cross cancel because I think it's easier to do now. To cross cancel, I look at both sides. I think of the x in the middle pointing towards the 2 numbers that I can cross cancel. Cross canceling is to make those 2 numbers smaller by dividing them by the same number. 8 and 4 I know can both be divided by 4. So I'm going to divide 8 by 4, which equals 2. I'm going to divide 4 by 4, which equals 1. Then I'm going to do the same thing this other direction. I know that 3 goes into 15, and 3 goes into 3. So I'm going to divide each of these by 3. 3 goes into 3 once, and 3 goes into 15 5 times. Okay? Then I got to multiply straight across. 2 times 5 is 10. 1 times 1 is 1. That gives me my answer in lowest terms. If I chose not to cross cancel, I would have to simplify this answer now. But because I did cross cancel, it's already in lowest terms. Step number 3, change it back to a mixed number. The way you do that is you divide the top number by the groups on the bottom. 10 divided by 1 is 10. So my answer is 10 with no fraction because there's nothing left over. I don't need to write it. My answer is 10. We'll do one more. This one a little bit quicker. Number 1, change my mixed numbers to improper fractions. Once again, I draw my little half circle, multiply the bottom, add the top. 2 times 1 is 2, plus 1 is 3. And that's over the same number as my denominator. Then I multiply it by 3 times 2 plus 2. 3 times 2 is 6, plus 2 is 8. 8 thirds. Now it's up to me if I want to cross cancel. In this case, I can see that both can cross cancel really easy. 3 and 3 can both be divided by 3. 3 goes into 3 once, and 3 goes into 3 once. I can see 2 and 8 can both be divided by 2. 2 goes into 2 once, and 2 goes into 8 4 times. 1 time, then the next step, multiply straight across. 1 times 4 is 4, and 1 times 1 is 1. Then I divide the bottom by the top. 1 goes into 4 times, and that's my answer. Sometimes you may run into a number like this, where your answer doesn't have a 1 on the bottom. You would have to divide 4 goes into 13. 4 goes into 13. For some students, it gets a little tough. I tell them the easy way is to draw your numerator, draw a certain number of dots, so 13 dots. 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Then you need to divide them into the groups of your denominator. I need them in groups of 4. So every time I see 4, I circle them. That means I have enough for a whole group. You may not have enough to have all of them in a group. So now I know I have 3 groups. I have 1 left over out of groups of 4. And that's how you turn an improper fraction into a mixed number.